Namaste. Hope you all keeping fine. In my previous video, I had shown you some very basic embroidery stitches and how to make use of those stitches in our practical life. Uh, Today's video is just a continuation or an extension of my previous video, and here also I am planning to show you some very simple embroidery stitches, and I'll just give you an idea how to make use of those stitches in our day-to-day life. So let us just have a quick look at the stitches that I am going to show you. So the first one is the satin stitch. So you can see that satin stitch, it can be made in different styles. That is, the first one is you can fill the design. Here I am talking of the circle. You can fill the design in a horizontal position. You can take the needle from the left, go to the right, again come to the left, and that process is repeated and you get horizontal stitches like that. And the second option is you can fill the design vertically. That is, you can take the stitch from the top, go to the bottom, again from top to the bottom. In that case, the stitches, they come vertically. So here you can see that the stitches, they are in a slanting position. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to do the satin stitch in a particular style, but somehow I feel this angular satin stitch gives a more appealing look. So these angular satin stitches and darning, they form the base of a very popular embroidery work from Punjab, that is the Phoolkari work. Now the Phoolkari basically means fool or the flower. It is not just the floral motifs alone, but geometrical patterns are also used, and the angular satin stitches are done, and this pallu of the sari, dupattas, lehengas, etc. are covered with these stitches. So I mentioned the word darning. Most of us must be very familiar with this word darning, because darning is more or less like a running stitch, but it is generally used for mending of clothes. That is, whenever we get a cut or a tear on a sari or any piece of fabric for that matter, we make use of this darning. As of now, let us proceed to our second embroidery stitch, that is the eyelet stitch. This is also a very simple stitch, and it comes in very handy when you want to make small flowers and all that. You can do this eyelet stitch with a different color, contrasting colors, or you can do it with the same color of the fabric. So let us move on to the third item, that is the applique work or the patchwork. So here you can see that I have done a very easy form of applique work or patchwork. This patchwork basically means taking a fabric from a different source and then attaching it to the main fabric using a stitch called hemming. Now here I will be showing you a very simple version of patchwork. This cannot be called a patchwork in any sense, but then after doing the embroidery, the final outcome or the final effect will be more or less like a patchwork. So here I have mentioned the name hemming. Hemming, I don't think it comes under this embroidery stitches, but then you can put this hemming into use in different areas. So talking of this patchwork, it forms the base of a another very famous embroidery stitch from Rajasthan. It belongs to the Banjara community. It is called the Banjara embroidery, and it is continued by the Banjara community or the nomad. They are the nomads. They perhaps originated from Rajasthan, but being nomads, they travel, and along with that their artwork also traveled from northern India to the southern India. I think this nomad community now they are found even in some parts of South India like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and all that. And the peculiarity of this Banjara embroidery is that it is very very colorful, and it has lots of mirror work, chain stitches, satin stitches, so many stitches they use, and they even make use of tiny shells. So it's very colorful and very attractive. Now let us move on to the next item, that is the buttonhole stitch, or this is also known as the blanket stitch. So buttonhole, as the name suggests, is the practical use of this buttonhole is see, this is the buttonhole that I was talking about. Everyone must be familiar with this, of course. And here I will show you some 2 to 3 variations of this button stitch. Here I have used it as an embroidery, but then you can make use of this buttonhole for practical use also. Then comes the woven wheel or the spider web. You can see that this embroidery stitch looks more or less like a spider web. So perhaps the name came that way. And here first the spokes of the wheel are first made, and then the thread is woven through the spokes, and perhaps that is why it is known as the woven wheel. So the next item is the French knot. This French knot is also a very simple embroidery stitch, and it comes in very handy when you make the middle portion of a flower. So this French knot can be used for making tiny flowers as well. So let us move on to the next stitch, that is the bullion rose stitch. As the name suggests, these are again small roses, and they look very pretty when you make it on the border of saris, dupattas and all that. Then comes the fly stitch. This is also a very simple stitch, and it comes in very handy when you want to make some grasses. And while you make this as a grass, you can make use of this French knot at the tip of this, and it will look like flowers. This fly stitch or the satin stitch or many other stitches actually can be used for mending the cloths. As I told you before, I'll be getting back to that in one of my coming videos. And then comes the shadow work or the herringbone stitch. These two stitches, they go hand in hand. The stitch that you are seeing on this side is the herringbone stitch. I prefer this herringbone to the shadow work, so I had done it on the right side of the fabric. But then this stitch is generally done on the back side of the cloth. By the cloth I mean very transparent cloth or very transparent fabric like organdy, organza, where you can see through the shadow, means you can see the shadow of the stitch that is done underneath on the top side. I'll just show you. So this is actually the right side. This is the shadow work, and I guess you can see the shadow of the design that is done underneath. So I hope you are able to see the shadow of the herringbone stitch from the right side of the fabric. So this is the shadow work. So now, as I told you, these two stitches, they go hand in hand, and these two stitches form the foundation work or form the base of a very famous embroidery stitch which is called the chicken work. This perhaps originated during the Mughal era, and even now the artisans they engage in doing this chikankari work in parts of Lucknow. So I hope you got a fair idea of the stitches that I am going to show you. Now let us get on to the actual process of making these stitches. So let us start with the satin stitch. Here I have made half of this design in an angular style. Now I will be filling the design. I'll just poke it like this, and I will bring it to the other side. So this the peculiarity of the satin stitch is that you get the same stitch right on the front as well as on the back side of the cloth. So it gives a padded effect. This process is repeated till you cover the entire design. So you can see the stitch is complete. I'll show you the back side. The back side also looks more or less the same as the front side. I'll just finish this off by making a knot here. I'll just use a scissor to cut the excess thread. So our satin stitch is ready. You have to do the same process here also. So here I have used red. I'll just go for this pink only. I'll just show you how to start this. See, I am just poking it like this. I'll bring it to the other side of the design. And this method is repeated. So whatever the design, the method is the same. Keep the thread on to your left side and needle to your right side. So you see, the stitch will look something like this. So in case you want to use a different color in between, you can use a different thread and stitch it and then continue with the same thread. You in fact you get this shaded color embroidery threads also. You can when you are using when you're making this flowers, you can use that shaded embroidery threads. It will give a good better effect in fact. Now let us move on to our next stitch, that is the eyelet stitch. So here I am using 2 threads like this. You can see the 2 strands only. I used a single strand and then I have doubled it. So I got 2 strands. Now I'll just poke it from the center. You can see I have put a mark here at the center. Here. I'll just make a hole like this because all the threads from now on has to go through this. Now I have taken the thread from this hole. Now I'll show you. This is a very simple stitch. You can see I am poking it at the border and then I'll bring it to this hole. So that is the first one. So same thing, I'll repeat it at a distance. I'll again take it out from the same hole. Now I'll keep rotating this. Again I'll take it from the same hole. And this process is repeated till we cover the entire area. So now I have almost completed the design. So this is my last stitch here. I'll just poke it like this. I'll show you the back side now. Take the stitch through the loop here and then put a knot. Yes, our eyelet stitch is ready. So here I have made a handkerchief like this and I have made use of this eyelet stitches. Here of course I have used contrast color, but then for this red fabric you can go in for this red thread and you can complete the entire kerchief with this eyelet stitches and that will look very elegant. So now let us move on to our next item, that is the patchwork. So here I have already fixed a piece of cloth to this fabric, to this main fabric, and I will show you how this hemming is done to fix the 2 pieces of cloth together. Here of course I have made use of a gum, fabric glue to attach this, but then you can do a kacha tang or a running stitch in between to just keep this cloth in position. And then I'll show you how this stitch is done, that is hemming is done. So for hemming, you take a small portion of the fabric that is underneath, and then you have to take a small piece of the cloth that is above. See, like this. One like this, that is a small portion from the, that is this yellow fabric, and then the fabric that we are using for the patchwork. So this is the hemming. So hemming is done this way. This is just used for fixing, but then the practical application I will show you. So this patchwork is complete. Here I have used a very simple design like this, but then you can use big designs, big floral designs or geometrical patterns, and it comes in very handy when you want to make bedspreads, bed sheets, especially the bedspreads of toddlers. They find it very attractive to see some cartoon or comic applique works on their bed sheets. And as I told you, I'll be showing you a easier version of this. So let us get on to that. So for that, what I have done is I have made a design like this, and then I have put a color to it. Okay, I have made use of acrylic color here. You can go for fabric color also. So I have painted this rectangle in red color. Now what you have to do is you have to use a contrast color, and then I'll make a border to it. So here for border I'll be using chain stitch. You can go in for any stitch for that matter, but here I'll be using chain stitch, and I'll give you an idea. I had discussed about this chain stitch in my previous video. You can just go through that. I'll give the link of that in the description box. So this is the chain stitch. Here of course I used 4 strands. So I am doing the chain stitch along the border. I'll show you how it will look like. So now you can see this work is over. So you cannot call this a applique work, but the final end result, it will look more or less like a applique work, and comparatively the work becomes very, very easy also. So I'll just show you one applique work that I have done. You can see this sheet here. This circle I have made using acrylic color. I have painted with acrylic color, and then I have given a border to this using chain stitch. Here I have used 6 strands for this, and then just I have made some design, that's all. So you this is a very simple version, but then you can use some stencils. You can make any designs of your choice. You can paint it, and then you can give a border like this, and it will look very much like a applique work. This I am telling you because it is quite easy when compared to the actual applique work. So now let us move on to our next item, that is the buttonhole stitch. So for that, buttonhole stitch is also very easy. I'll just show you. You have to take the thread like this. So I've taken the thread out. So here I have made 2 lines. This is just to maintain a correct shape, that's all. Now what you have to do, I am poking it here in the second line, and then I'll just take it out like this, and the thread, it goes under the needle like this. I'll just pull it out, and you get a stitch like this. Again I repeat, I am poking it inside at a distance. I'll take it out like this. Again the thread goes under the needle, and another stitch. So this is the buttonhole stitch, and the same stitch is applied while doing the buttonhole for the shirts, for whatever. So this is almost over. So I am just finishing this stitch. I have taken the thread like this, and then you can see the stitches at the back side. I'll take the thread through this, and then I'll make a knot. So as I told you before, this is also known as blanket stitch. So I'll show you some variations of this. So here I have made 3 lines like this. It is similar to this, but the distance you can see. One stitch comes from here to here, whereas in the middle it goes from here to here. It is just a variation, that's all. Method is the same. So now this is a longer version, so I'll go for the shorter one now. Like this. And then again I'll go for the longer. And this method is repeated till we reach the other side. So now I'll show you another version of this buttonhole stitch. From here to here I have already done. Now I'll do it from the reverse side. So I used another color for this purpose. So I started from this point, and in between I'll be making the stitch like this. Method is the same. So in between these 2 lines I will get another stitch like this. See this, I have to continue till here. I'll show you. So this is the stitch. So I have done this buttonhole stitch from this side to this side, and then I have repeated it from this side to this side. So here I used green and blue. I'll show you another version. Here I have used red and blue. So you can get an idea what this is actually. So 2 times I have done this buttonhole stitch, that's all. So now let us move on to our next item, that is the French knot. We'll first do the French knot and then we'll do the spider web. French knot is also a very easy stitch. Here I'll be using 4 strands here. I'll just poke it like this, and then what you have to do is I'll just hold this thread like this, and I'll just insert. Just I'll just insert the needle like this. I'll take this needle, thread like this, and then poke it inside. That's all. I'll show you. See, this is the stitch. I'll show you again. I'll hold the thread like this. I'll bring the needle like this. I'll take the thread and then poke it inside. See? I'll show you again. To hold the thread like this. Now, I'll take the needle like this. I'll take the thread and then poke it down. I hope you got an idea. I'll do it again. I'll just take the thread like this. I'll give it a twist and poke it inside. So now you can see the stitch. Here I used red and blue, but then you can go in for one single color. And you can see that it has a 3D look, because all these stitches they have the same layer of the fabric, but they stand out. So I am saying it has a 3D finish. So let us start the spider web stitch. For the first step for making the spokes of this wheel, it is similar to the eyelet stitch. I am taking this from the middle. I'll take it here. I'll poke it inside and then go to this side, to this spoke of the wheel. I'll just poke it inside through the same hole. Now I'll take it like this. Any way you can do. First you have to make the spokes like this. So all the spokes are ready. Here I have taken 7. While doing this stitch, this spider web stitch, you have to make a note that the spokes should be in odd number, that is 7, 5, 9, 11, like that. Only then you get the weaving correctly. So now we have to do the weaving part. I'll show you. Now I have taken the needle like this. Now what I have to do is, I'll just poke the needle under this spoke like this. So it is a method of weaving, that's all. Then I'll go on top of the spoke. One I had done underneath and the other one I am doing above the spoke. Next one again under and then above, like that. Alternately we have to do. One over the thread, one under the thread. So now this is under, we will go over, then under, and this method is repeated over and under. So that's why I told you had to use a odd number of spokes, only then the weaving will become perfect. One is above the thread and the other one is under the thread. So this method has to be repeated till you complete the entire design. So here this method has to be repeated till you design. Means if you want to complete the entire spokes like this, you have to keep doing. But here I am stopping because I want this to be seen, the spokes also to be seen. So it will look something like this, see. So I'll just finish this off. So while doing embroidery, make sure that the back side of the cloth is also equally neat. So the extras, this extra thread and all, just make sure that you cut it. So it will look something like this. I'll show you one mask that I had done. So this here I have completed almost the entire spokes. So it will look something like this. But here I have kept a small portion so that you can see the spokes here. So now let us move on to our next stitch, that is the fly stitch. This is again a very simple stitch. So let me start with this fly stitch. I am taking the needle out like this. So what you have to do is, I'll just poke it inside like this and take the thread to the end of this design. Then I'll keep the thread like this. I'll poke it here and bring the needle to this point. See? Then I'll poke it down like this. I'll take the needle to this side. I'll bring the thread like this, poke it here, and then bring it out in the middle. So this gives the effect of a grass like thing. This is how it is done. This is also a very easy stitch. So this is the fly stitch. It comes in very handy when you want to make grasses and all that, especially when you are trying to do embroidery of a landscape. Then I'll show you how I'll make a French knot at the tip, this stitch at the tip, and then that will look like a flower. I'll just twist it. I'll poke it inside. And you can see that this looks like a small flower. Here I have gone for blue only, so it is not very distinct. But then if you use a red color, this will be very prominent. Green and red combination. Green for grass, and this red flowers or yellow flowers, they look very attractive. See, like this. At the tip you can go in for small flower, so that gives a feeling of a small tiny flower. So that's it. Now let us move on to our next stitch, that is the bullion rose stitch. For this I am taking 4 strands. I'll just poke it like this to the end of this design, and then what I have to do is I'll just take the thread, I'll just wind this thread 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can go up to 10, and then I'll pull the thread like this. See, this is the bullion rose stitch. I'll show you again. I'll poke it like this, and then I'll wind it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll pull the thread, and then I'll just poke it inside like this. Now I'll take one like this, and then we have to do it at an angle. So I'll just do like this, and then again the method is the same. I'll just pull it, and then we'll just poke it inside like this. And you have to keep repeating this process till the shape of a rose is created. I'll just show you here. You can see here I use 2 colors, blue and red. So you can make a big rose, or you can go in for a tiny rose. I'll show you one more rose that I made here. See, this is quite big. In fact, you can go in for tiny roses like this, but the method is the same. You have to keep adjusting the petals so that it takes the shape of a rose. So now let us move on to our next item, that is the shadow work or the herringbone stitch. So here I'll be doing the herringbone stitch. So let us start the herringbone stitch. I've taken the thread out like this. Now I'll poke the needle here, and I'll bring it out like this. Now I'll go to this side. The method is repeated. I'll go to the top like this, and then I'll come to this side. And then I'll go to this side. So one towards the right side and one towards the left side. So you get a cross like this. So as we proceed, you can see this cross in the middle. So here I have used a combination of pink and blue color. You can go in for one color also. See, this is the cross I am talking about. So this method is repeated till you reach the other end. This is the herringbone stitch, and this is the shadow work. So the back side, or you may say the right side, it will look like this, and the back side will look like this in case you do this herringbone stitch on the back side. But here, of course, I have done the herringbone stitch on the right side of the fabric. So whichever way you like, you can do it. But as I said, the shadow work and the herringbone stitch, they go hand in hand. So I'll just finish this off. And I'll just show you this stitch. See, you can see the shadow. If I had done this on an organdy cloth or organza cloth, you can actually see this without the torchlight. So that is the shadow work that I am talking of. So here I have some ready-made pieces like this. This is actually, I got it from a friend. She gave me as a gift, presented me as a gift. So this is the shadow work. You can see this shadow work, it only consists of stitches like this. See, and you can see the shadow of the herringbone stitch on the top. So this is also called the chicken work. It is a very famous work from Lucknow. I have a suit also here. So this is the salwar kameez, and this top, same stitch is done here, but of course here they have made use of small patchwork also in between. But then other than that, all these are herringbone stitch. I'll show you the back side. So this is of course I don't know whether they have done in machine or not. I guess it must be in handwork only. But this is the back side herringbone, and this is the shadow work that I was talking of. And then I'll be showing you the patchwork that I told you. This is again a handkerchief. I have done this. First I have used this acrylic color to make this flowers, and then I had done a chain stitch, and the final outcome is something like this. It looks more like a patchwork or an applique work. And this is again a handkerchief. I have done the herringbone stitch on the top, and this is the shadow work. This of course I have kept it like this because I am more interested in this stitch. So this is the herringbone stitch, and here in between I used fly stitch. So yeah, I have this one more piece. This I just wanted to show you, to give you an idea of the Banjara work, the Banjara embroidery. You can see that it is heavily embroidered, and then they make use of the small beads, this shisha work. This is again another very famous embroidery stitch from parts of Rajasthan, or this Banjara community. They make use of this mirror work, and they also make use of small shells. Of course here no shells are used, but then this is a typical example of a Banjara embroidery. So I guess you got a fair idea of some of the stitches that I had shown you, and I hope you can put it to some practical use as well. Anyway, I'll be showing you the methods of using this embroidery stitches and how to use them for mending our clothes in one of my coming videos. So as of now, it's tata bye bye from me. So please keep supporting me with your likes, shares and subscriptions. Thank you.